Hey everyone, what's up? What's going on? I'm Joe, and this is just a quick intro to our podcast. Much like my co-host Mike said in last week's intro, we have a bit of a half announcement this week, so we're going to go ahead and spare you all of our usual advertisements, and I'll definitely let you know more details as we get closer to the release, but what I can say now is that we're going to be adding a new program under the How Many Fingers banner. It's basically going to be an Oscar prediction video series, and it's going to be exclusively found on our YouTube page. Oscar season, as we all know, is quickly approaching, and so we'll be dropping the first installment of this series within the next few weeks. So if this sounds like something that you'd be interested in, make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel, and if you're not, it's very easy to do so. Go to the YouTube search bar and type in How Many Fingers Am I Holding Up? The podcast, I'm sure will pop up, or you can go to howmanyfingerspodcast.com and we have a direct link to our YouTube right there. This week we've got John Schiavone of the band Concourse helping us review Venom. Be sure to check out Concourse at concourse.bandcamp.com, but first, our review of Venom. Enjoy. Hi, I'm Joe.
And I'm Mike.
And you're listening to How Many Fingers Am I Holding Up? The podcast. And this week we'll be reviewing Venom.
I wish we were drinking Venom, so I didn't have to remember this movie.
Hey everyone, and welcome to How Many Fingers Am I Holding Up, featuring two guys getting daddied and reviewing movies in a weekly podcast form.
And thank you to my beautiful girlfriend, Rowan Court, for that inappropriate synonym that we're going to talk about when I get home. You're going to get daddied when I get home.
Whoa!
You're grounded.
Whoa!
No, I mean in the real sense.
I thought it was going to be... I hesitated there. I thought it was going to be daddied up.
No, daddy.
That's a term I... just even frequently used, maybe even last episode, I was talking to Joe. I was like, you need me to daddy up on this?
Daddy up.
Yeah.
One doesn't sound so bad, the other...
Like I said, we're going to talk about it.
One's parental, one's
one's a wait and see. And
So, Joe, do you want to introduce the man sitting betwixt us this episode?
I would love to. And I've never said your last name out loud. John
Schiavone. Yeah, okay. It's an ongoing process. My last name. But yeah, hello everyone. I'm John. Just call me John S. Call me Johnny. Don't care. But yeah, happy to be here. Very thankful for these guys inviting me over to talk about some movies.
Yeah, you're straight from work.
Straight from work. Straight out of work.
Dedication.
I got my tie over there on the table. Actually, I'll put that on after.
He'll get daddied up.
I'll get all daddied up. Whatever
if
you guys want. If he
needs a daddy up, he can. He's got the tie over there.
He's got the accessories.
But yeah, I think we were out for a. We're out for my girlfriend's brunch.
Oh baby. That was a mess.
You guys got brunch stuff.
that was not intended.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay. Let's not make excuses. We are dads after all.
Mm-hmm.
But it was I was out to brunch. It was my first brunch actually.
Welcome to the brunch scene.
I know it was an experience.
It's exciting for you, yeah.
I'm just a lowly Percy kid. I don't brunch for me was a bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit at McDonald's and skateboarding.
No, these girls are endless mimosas.
Bottomless mimosas.
It's it never stops. I actually chose not to drink that day because I was like, I don't like being day drunk.
Wise.
It's
very wise decision.
even though
day drunk, much less morning drunk.
No, yeah, definitely.
Pre-noon.
They start at noon, and it's really well. I mean, I guess we got there at 11, but I mean, who am I to say anything really?
We host a drinking podcast,
right? We've been drinking since 4 p.m. today.
Well, okay, at least I have like a fortification of.
Yes.
I had a breakfast, I had a lunch. This may be dinner, but at least I had a breakfast and a lunch, and we show up there in the morning, and you were right. I gotta say, you were right. That first mimosa, you think you're good and you can get more, but that's a big mistake. It's the downfall.
They all go to sleep at like 7 p.m. after those days. That's why I'll just kind of stay home, and it was I don't know. It was nice though. I had like a nice like coffee rubbed flank steak, very delicious. But other places that our audience can find you if they want.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Because I know you're in a band and everything.
Yeah. So if you go to concoursepa.bandcamp.com, you can hear our EP for free. You can download it for free. My fiance and I, we both sing on it and produce it with our best friends. We worked really hard on it. We're also working on our next thing. We have about 12 new songs, and we're getting there.
That's awesome.
But concoursepa.bandcamp.com, go check it out.
And like, what kind of music would you describe it as?
I would say it's just like, it sounds like the area. I really
Bucks
don't.
County.
I can't. I don't really know. But it's if you like.
It's not like grindcore.
No. If you grew up listening to emo, then you'd probably like it. But it's
post emo PA.
It's I don't know. Just check it out. It's free, so fuck it.
Definitely.
Hell yeah.
Right.
So concoursepa.bandcamp.com.
Yeah, concoursepa.bandcamp.com. Check it out. It's free.
There you go.
Awesome.
All right, so we're drinking this week. It's not brunch, but we're
As
going
we
to drink
do
anyway.
every week.
We're drinking Trail Angel Vice from Devil's Backbone Brewing Company. I love that name, Trail Angel. It sounds like a nickname for like a prostitute on like the Appalachian Trail. Or we picked up a couple trail angels on the way.
Match with a brewing company that's called Devil's Backbone. It really starts to
like the artwork on the can. Of course, they're not going to do a prostitute. It's like a hiking boot with wings coming out of it, angel wings. But you can't convince me that's not about a Appalachian Trail prostitute.
Listen, you can tell a lot about a person by their shoes. All right.
If they got wings sprouting out of them, something's going on.
What's with like beer companies like really pushing hiking too? The last thing
that's like a whole like subsect of like hipsterism now.
Yeah,
is like
the last thing I'm doing when I'm hiking is
Drink a
wanting
beer.
to be drinking
I just
something
want water
that's
when
like
I'm
I'm super dehydrated and miserable because I drank so much the night before.
right. Yeah,
We're going hiking. We're waking up at 6. We're going to be on the trail at 7. And then
Sly Fox has something that's like literally called like the fucking Schuylkill Trail something, and I'm just like, really?
So it's got a little bit of like a sour bite to it.
Oh, it definitely does.
it tastes like it's a sour.
I kind of wasn't. I didn't read that it was a Vice, and then last night I was trying it for the first time, and I was like, "This is
I just
sour."
opened it up and drank it, and it tastes good. Yeah,
Good.
Not bad.
Good.
I like sour beers, so.
Trail Angel.
It's not too sour either.
No.
It's right there.
I mean, you get me at a brunch, I'm gonna like anything.
Right. Yes.
Apparently.
Give me some bottomless Trail Angels. Hell yeah, baby.
Welcome to brunch, baby. Hey, Devil's Backbone, sponsor us.
Pour it right into the OJ.
We got your new tagline too. Welcome to brunch. Your pre-hike brunch.
But let's get into this movie.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read
Okay.
the IMDb description for y'all, and then Mike's got some notes.
Joe also has notes because he fucked up.
I have a couple. I have a couple points that
Okay.
I was thinking
hop
about in the
anytime.
meantime. No, but you guys go for
But
it.
no.
I'm a guest.
If you listen to next week's episode, there was a bit of a fudge up. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say fuck.
God damn, Joe.
I've been trying it out in the backyard. But yeah, no, I was supposed to do the notes for Halloween, next week's review, and I actually did notes for this movie. So you know what? I think I'm going to sprinkle them out throughout our discussion.
Oh, just
when it seems appropriate or necessary. But right now, I'm gonna
you can vote in the comments whether you think Mike or Joe had better notes for this movie.
All right, really,
I mean, yours are probably better. I ran through these.
turn the kids against us. Okay, but I'm gonna read the IMDb description.
Yes, please.
When Eddie Brock acquires the powers of a symbiote, he will have to release his alter ego Venom to save his life.
It's not really an alter ego.
It's not an alter ego at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
It's the definite. It's like the antithesis of an alter ego. But okay, wait.
Yeah,
so
sure.
that was IMDb that wrote
was
that.
IMDb.
Their users submitted, and then people vote, and the top one shows up
yeah.
at the top.
It took us a really long time.
Yeah,
to
we used to
figure
be
that
like,
out.
really?
We used
That's
to
the
be
best you could do, IMDb?
We used to think like IMDb, like HQ was like, all right, and
Approved.
when Eddie Brock acquires. So
That's not even the story at all. Did they watch it?
They're often wrong.
Yeah.
It's a source of comedy on this podcast.
a lot of the
Holy hell!
a lot of the time, it just seems like somebody watched the trailer
Yeah.
and kind of wrote the description from there.
All right. So this Venom is the first film in Sony's Marvel universe, which is adjunct to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, meaning that it exists in a world where that's true, that the Marvel everything happened to them, but they're not like referencing it constantly. They're trying to set it up so they can eventually bring Spider-Man into the story of a Spider-Man villain, hopefully.
And that's why it's set in San Francisco and not New York.
Yeah.
Like
Well, I think
all the
that's based on, there's a different Venom comic that is
Okay.
a Venom origin story, that's because Venom's origin story is based on Spider-Man originally.
Oh, yeah.
Because he has like the Spider-Man like symbol
Yep.
on his chest. This is based on a separate comic series that imagined Venom being created without Spider-Man, and he was in San Francisco.
The conversation of
based it
the
on that.
universe is so funny. I was reading like something on like Tumblr that was just like, if in Black Panther when she says like, "What are those?" kind of, it's like
yeah.
it's definitely like the Vine. The other Vine that's like,
Well, in 20
it is Wednesday, my dudes, like
Yeah.
dressed up in a Spider-Man costume exists in that
Watermelon.
universe too. Yeah.
Yeah. When that's gonna stop making sense in a little bit. I mean, honestly, it's like probably you know how like there's certain kids that like were born after 9/11 now and like they can almost drink. You know how that's like super weird. Like it's like super weird. No, I'm just saying.
It's like a very jarring thing to hear.
No, I'm just saying it's like that joke. What are those? Like
How many years until those 9/11 babies can drink?
9/11 baby.
it's only
Babies conceived after
Dude.
9/11. Like,
Ah!
fuck, baby, we just gotta go right
Oh no,
now.
it's like less than
That's
I guess,
fucking
or I don't know.
scary.
Yeah,
We gotta bring this.
Well, they're
baby.
17 now,
yeah.
or potentially 18 or 9,
Jeez.
based on how young you are.
9/11 babies are in their junior
No,
year
it's
of high
less
school
than
right now.
It's
right?
less than 3 because we're in October, right? Is that?
Until they're 18, you mean?
What,
or-
what
or
year?
until they're
What
20.
year of high school are they in?
I don't want to talk about
Okay.
this.
Yes.
It's soon. It's soon.
Those 9/11
Hashtag 9/11 baby.
9/11 babies are gonna start showing up in your local bar, ordering beers like it's no fucking big deal.
No, I mean
Like millennials, Generation Y, 9/11
Big
Bro.
9/11 babies.
it's and the years keep going faster. So like, God, it's gonna be like we're gonna wake up and it's just gonna be a
babies
bunch of
born when their parents were
Yeah.
like, time is precious. The World Trade Center just fell down.
man.
It was just like we were outside talking about like movies changed after Star Wars. And
Yeah.
that's true. But I think movies changed after 9/11.
Yeah.
Movies used to just kind of be
Spider-Man changed after 9/11.
Oh my gosh,
They took
yeah,
but,
the
like-
towers out.
movies used to be just kind of fucking goofy and whatever, and then I think 9/11 happened and all of a sudden things were dark. Like things had to be dark comedy if they were comedy.
Okay.
And it was very strange.
Not to change the universe, but if you look at the DC universe from the the last Batman movie up until Batman Begins.
Right.
You have these Joel Schumacher fucking neon themed movies, and then you have this like hammer throw of a Christopher Nolan Batman Begins movie that is just like Jesus.
He's
not that that's a working theory, but it's just like.
Well, I mean, we say that sort of as a joke, but like that's like when they teach like music history. Okay. Like my brother, who's a music teacher, talks about this all the time. Like they ask, like what was like the single most like important event, that sort of divides like before and after in music,
right?
And it's the creation of the atomic bomb. So like big things like that, like before that, life seems kind of frivolous and whatever, and then they create the atomic bomb, and it's like, well, we could all die at any moment, and I think 9/11 probably did that for a lot of people.
No,
it has to have an effect on art.
Some sort of
in the Venom.
Some sort of. My bad, guys. I brought it up.
No problem.
We were talking about the Sony's Marvel universe. The only thing I wanted to bring up is that they own a ridiculous amount of Marvel villains from like the Spider-Man series. So like this is the first one they're making, but I think they literally own 90 other characters.
Yeah.
And so I have a list of like ones that they've like are trying to make. So they have like Morbius, the living vampire, which is gonna be the Jared Leto is gonna star in that.
Wait, really?
Yeah, as like a vampire villain from the Marvel universe.
Here we go.
They have Black Cat that they're making. They were originally going to make Silver and Black, which is going to be Silver Sable and Black Cat. I think they might be splitting them up, or something happened with that, so that's not definite right now, but they have the rights. They want to make a Kraven movie, which is like I wish I could turn the computer on and show you the picture. It's like the guy with like the leopard skin suit and like he's a big Spider-Man villain.
Superhero movies need to be stopped.
Silk, which is like a newer Spider-Man character.
Can't be stopped.
It's like Girl Spider-Man. Jackpot,
Spider-Woman,
Night Watch. Spike Lee is making Night Watch. This is the next movie that he's working on. Yeah, and there's a bunch of. I think they want to bring.
It may not.
They want to bring Carnage in at some point, and
do they?
Do they want to bring in? Like,
did we see the after credits scene?
I thought.
I didn't stay for the after credits actually.
So okay, we don't want to get into spoilers, but I don't know if you fucking read it online. They go, Eddie Brock is like, oh, I'm a fucking journalist, and like he walks into like a well-guarded prison, and then Woody Harrelson's there in like the most terrible fucking like
he looks like
Orphan Annie fucking like wig, and he's like, there's going to be carnage. And I was like, oh no.
It wasn't that bad, but the problem was the walk up. So are we saying fuck all to spoilers at this point?
We don't even got it.
No. Okay. Well, let's just hang on to it. Because I'm not gonna forget that.
Let me finish up these mic notes.
Let's leave a bookmark there.
All right. Yeah. So Venom, directed by Ruben Fleischer, who has previously directed a bunch. Notably Zombieland, 30 Minutes or Less, and Gangster Squad. And he's done a bunch of TV and like web series. So he's done episodes of Jimmy Kimmel Live, Between Two Ferns with Zach Galifianakis, Superstore, American Housewife, and Santa Clarita Diet, and a bunch of music videos and commercials. So he seems like he's more of like a utility director that studios and whatnot are like, hey, this guy can get the job done. Maybe not so much of a visionary, but you put him on the job, you're going to get a finished product at some point. Venom, written by Jeff Pinkner, Scott Rosenberg, and Kelly Marcel. Jeff Pinkner has worked on Amazing Spider-Man 2, The Fifth Wave, The Dark Tower, and Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle, and a bunch for TV, notably Ally McBeal, Alias, Lost, and Fringe. We got Scott Rosenberg. Scott is also an actor, acted in a bunch of stuff in small parts. But for writing, he's worked on Con Air, High Fidelity, Gone in 60 Seconds, Kangaroo Jack.
A lot of Nick Cage movies.
Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle.
Mixed in there.
And then in TV, he created October Road, Life on Mars, Happy Town, and Zoo. None of those really had terribly long runs. Kelly Marcel, also an actress, a bunch of small bit parts, and she has written Saving Mr. Banks and the screenplay for 50 Shades of Grey. And then just kind of finally, like Venom has been in planning since like 1997. It was originally owned by New Line Cinema before it was transferred over to Sony. back in like 1997, they were looking at Dolph Lundgren to star as Venom. And it's just had a long, crazy production history. I'm not going to bore you with all of it. But like at some point, they were going to do like a spin-off of like the Topher Grace version of Eddie Brock from the Spider-Man Sam Raimi series. And then
that was the Spider-Man 3 one.
Yeah. And then at some point, like not too long ago, like sort of recently, it was planned to be like an R-rated Venom, sort of playing off of like Deadpool and Logan's success.
So I think it was
but then they pulled back because they obviously want to bring Spider-Man in at some point, and they're thinking that his family friendly style of this new Spider-Man would not vibe.
Well, I would say like implicitly it was kind of there. I mean, he's talking about like a running joke in the film. I wouldn't say it's a joke because it's not really a joke, but just biting heads off people.
Right.
You know?
That seemed like a joke that was left on the cutting room floor. That
I think they cut off a lot. They filmed a lot of violence and actually just cut it.
It was cut. A lot of stuff was cut.
I heard that. I heard that this was filmed as an R-rated film and it was cut into a PG-13 film. And honestly, usually I would have something to say about that, where I'm like, that's stupid. But I think like this movie's had a large success with an $80 million opening movie, and I think that might have been the right choice.
Yeah, I mean that was literally my next point, is that it was projected at 60 to 70 million, beat those projections handily with 80
because
million.
it was that's based on the success of like Deadpool and what do you say, Logan?
Logan would be the other R-rated one. Yeah,
Logan is brilliant.
Those had healthy opening, but those weren't like 80 million. Maybe Deadpool was, but Logan wasn't like 80 million opening weekend, I don't think.
Right.
And I have to agree with them. If they're trying to marry this to Spider-Man Homecoming, that version of Spider-Man at some point, that's very family friendly. PG-13. You can't have that Spider-Man coming in and Venom's like, fucking jerking off with the symbiote or whatever he's doing in the R-rated version.
Right. Yeah.
Well, my question is, how do the universes combine? How because they have the option, I suppose, because you have Spider-Man Homecoming, you have Venom, but then you also have
It's like mouses.
that version of Spider-Man in Infinity War. You have him in Infinity War, which in and of itself is like kind of a dark movie.
Yeah, it's darker in concept, although I guess it doesn't really get into extreme.
It's not violent.
Not explicit violence.
It's not violent in that way, but there's a lot of character deaths.
Yeah.
Spoiler
I
alert.
don't think Spider-Man is immune to dark concepts. It's more just I think they wanted to do like in sort of irreverent superhero type thing like they did with Deadpool with Venom, because obviously he's the villain. He's not a good guy.
Right. An anti-hero kind of lends its darker themes or whatever.
The last thing, just a quick sort of discussion point, is just the sort of the news story of when this movie came out. It dropped the same weekend as A Star Is Born, and there was like A Star Is Born fans like leaving false negative reviews on Venom because they were standing so hard for Lady Gaga and A Star Is Born. So
because they wanted Oscar bids or whatever.
They wanted A Star Is Born to beat Venom at the box office.
Oh, wow.
It meant that much to them that Lady Gaga was in A Star Is Born, and it was a whole thing.
There's a little bit of everything nowadays.
The negative reception for this movie was very overstated, and part of that was these fans going on like Rotten Tomatoes or wherever they could submit user reviews.
Ooh, Rotten Tomatoes.
It's awful, and
Right. I also think
it was poorly reviewed, but not nearly as poorly reviewed
as
the audience made it out to be.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people that saw this and thought it was awesome. And 80 million.
It's a fun movie.
It did have a drop off. It had like a 60% drop off, I think, to like I think it made like 29 or 27 or 28 or something the next weekend. So it had a steep drop off, but it's because a lot of people also saw it the first weekend.
Yeah, no, it had a gigantic opening though. 80 million is pretty big. I was telling John outside, I was just kind of like, movies are in a weird place right now. I mean, we just had like a summer that was the lowest since like the 1960s in like box office terms and everything. So even if it's Venom, that's like, which I isn't necessarily like a great movie. If that's like making 80 million or whatever it made, it's still some sort of a good sign. People are going to movies, people are going to theaters or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I'd love to get into this movie though, if we want to talk about it. I mean,
yeah,
just
that's really all I got. This is not. I thought that the Wikipedia had percentages on this, but they had this, survey from Fandango that said that most people wanted to see the film because it featured a Marvel anti-hero, or because it had the potential to cross over with Spider-Man, and or because they were fans of Hardy, which just sort of answers my question of like why.
I think
why the 80 million opening for. I didn't think Tom Hardy had that kind of pull, and I didn't think that a movie that didn't have a real hero in it.
Sabri wanted to see Venom. And
because of Tom Hardy? Well, because he's in Dunkirk. So.
What about the Dawson?
Well, he's also
he's connected to Harry.
Like Peaky Blinders or whatever. And I think she thinks he's hot. You know, like
is
think a lot of
Peaky Blinders?
What? Because she saw Dunkirk
so.
and he's in Dunkirk and Harry's in Dunkirk.
Well,
is that how that works?
No,
is that
I
how
think
that
she
trickles
just
down?
There's the other guy that's
I've
in
never
Peaky Blinders
seen
that's in Dunkirk.
Cillian Murphy.
Yeah.
The Nolans, all the Nolan guys.
Yes, he is. He's in Peaky Blinders. Yeah. Okay. But yeah. So I think Tom Hardy has this like built-in fan base. Like I've said, I think Marvel has this built-in fan base. Even if this isn't
we haven't seen like what has Tom Hardy really pulled on his own before? Because like he got like big and hot like with like Inception and a bunch of stuff like that, and then he did a bunch of movies. Like he did the one where he plays like two different versions.
Oh yeah, Bronson.
Like a twin. Yeah, nobody saw that shit.
Bronson was amazing though. I mean,
I heard good things, but not pulling 80 million at the box office.
Well, because he's this is a big lead for him, and I don't know, like the biggest problem I had with this movie besides the villain casting.
You guys are talking about two different movies too. You're talking about Legend. You're talking about Bronson.
I'm talking about Bronson.
Okay.
The one
Bronson
where
he plays the prize fighter or whatever it is.
Yes.
Yeah. He's the most dangerous.
Nicholas Refn film.
Yeah. He's most dangerous convict in Britain.
And that is a good movie.
It is really good.
Both of those.
And then
in those.
And then the writer in this, who wrote for 50 Shades of Grey or whatever, she helped Tom Hardy like rewrite Bronson from like Nicholas Refn's, and I think that's how like they got connected in like their like writing relationship.
Well, the problem I had, and you kind of alluded to it earlier, where you're like, it's a Brock show. You know, he's kind of he's almost a caricature of a video journalist type. You know, where he's like
this is what people.
You know what I mean. But that's who he's supposed to be. He's supposed to be a scumbag that kind of would rather get off on his own career and break into his fiance's fucking computer to break a story.
Yeah.
Right. And he like doubles and triples down on his own career, like his own bullshit, and he gets busted for it. Right. But then it's like, you know, the moment the character starts to meet Venom, like the moment he decides like, fuck it, I'm going to break into that lab.
Right.
Like the first third of the movie, I was like, what's going on? Like, come on, let's get to it.
Right. Yeah.
Like, let's have him meet Venom, you know, because it's obviously going to be, it's not an alter ego. An alter ego implies like a Jekyll and Hyde type of thing where you become someone else.
Which they listed that as an influence.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. It makes no sense.
This director is directing something called like Jekyll or Hyde like 2 years from now.
I think he's also working on.
Okay,
it's just kind of
there.
Like,
you go.
He wants to.
IMDb on the beat.
He's also working on the creature from the Black Lagoon for that universe as well.
Wow,
I think.
IMDb is just really on the beat, aren't they? So anyway, he's harboring a parasite, and that's the joke, right? Venom hates being a parasite. It's not an alter ego. It's a whole nother personality.
Right.
He just has access to his own mind and his own memories, and that's why Venom is able to communicate in English. right? It makes sense.
Right, he has access to your brain.
Yeah, and it's like you can suspend your disbelief, but at the end of the day, it's a comic book movie. It's a sci-fi movie.
Definitely.
You know,
my big problem with
I just wish they would have gotten to it quicker.
Definitely. This is a small part of the film, but I think like Tom Hardy, or what is his actual name?
Eddie Brock.
Eddie
Brock being a journalist is like kind of it's a little laughable that maybe like that's where like a lot of like the like not intelligence of this movie starts to show, or it's kind of like, oh Jesus, do you think this is
they're like, oh, he's got a hit show when he's like,
right,
he's tattooed, he's wearing like denim jackets and stuff. Like, if you want that to be the thing, put him in a fucking suit.
But
you know?
but
his accent was a little off too.
But
I don't know what it was supposed to be.
His accent.
He's supposed to be from New York.
Right.
He got kicked out of New York.
But
no, I don't know.
But it's also like I don't know. They wanted to be a bad journalist, but then they also show like that Eddie Brock like intro where it's kind of like he's like representing like LGBT like representatives, and like he's doing all this other stuff, and he's doing like really like,
is that in the very beginning of the movie?
Unearthing bodies from a garbage dump.
I missed like, the first like 5 minutes of the movie. Whenever the crash happened, I missed.
No, it was definitely later in the movie.
Okay.
But they do an Eddie Brock news segment intro on the screen.
Yeah.
Which is a little weird.
Yeah.
And
no, it was okay.
Yeah, no, it's okay, but I think they have a strange understanding of kind of like he's kind of like doing the right things, where then he does something wrong, which is
he comes off as like a hacky journalist. Successful journalist.
Yeah, and
like
and
he
I
doesn't
guess
seem like he should be an on-camera personality as well. You know, because
it's kind of awkward.
I think he'd be living a better life. He'd be like the show they're trying to build around him is like Anderson Cooper 360 type shit. You know, whereas like Anderson Cooper can't go anywhere without someone being
less credibility.
Knowing who he is.
He's kind of like a frat bro who's on Vice. That's what.
But it seems like he's on a major channel.
Yeah, no. Well, a local I didn't really
or at least local. But I mean, local people are.
But also like it was kind of laughable that like the writers thought like that's kind of what a journalist is.
Well, it's almost like quick quill notes in Harry Potter. Yeah. Like he's just sort of he's that popular face, and there's a shred of truth in everything he's doing, but he's not doing any real work. Mm-hmm. He's just. But they didn't make it apparent that he's more successful.
They didn't spend a whole lot of time on that.
Because how are you gonna make somebody who's like a moral, you know? Because they made him almost seem like a moral hero. Mm-hmm. But he did like a really like I don't know. It's just
he's also a guy who gives like a homeless person like $20.
It's the struggle of trying to make a movie about a villain.
Yes,
where he's the hero.
Yeah,
I guess
it's
hard.
That's what so many people.
And you don't have
like,
enough time.
How do you make this movie without Spider-Man? Like,
you
know, like it really should have been.
There's not enough time to actually do it, right?
He should have just been the main villain of a Spider-Man movie, and like he could be a great character in that, and we can still explore Tom Hardy, you know, getting to meet the symbiote and like
in a second film.
Yeah, but let him be the actual bad guy of the movie.
But I'm also okay with this movie, in a weird way. No, I am, because they did spend the time on the story of the symbiotes, right? And for anybody that didn't see it, actually, whatever, but alien life form, right? Mm-hmm. Takes control. I don't know. Everybody reads comics, I guess, that watches this. I'm not sure. Right. Nice to meet you guys. But yeah, it's not an alter ego. He's it's almost like a possession that he's able to communicate with. Mm-hmm. And at a lot of times it's really funny.
Right.
Like it was kind of funny.
There's
sometimes.
There's humor. Yeah, I mean this starts like, I mean, we just reviewed The Predator, which is like the most recent film in the Predator franchise, and this film kind of starts much like that film does, where it's kind of like, oh, the Predator or the crash lands. It's kind of like the symbiote crash lands. I mean, even though it's like a sort of like NASA exploration, or even a kind of Elon Musk ripoff. I'm so sick of that. Like this whole the Riz Ahmed character.
It was such an. I literally said that last night.
He's literally. It's just kind of like Riz Ahmed kind of like sleepwalks through.
It's Bodhi from freaking Rogue One. I can't do it.
This role. And the character he plays definitely like displays like a level of intelligence, like the level of intelligence that went into this film. I know I just said this about but he's. And that's in a negative way. That I mean that like nothing he really says totally makes sense, or like he never makes me believe that he thinks he's doing the right thing. He's just doing a lot of kind of like mustache twirling, where he's kind of like, we'll kill the fucking homeless. Like we just need to make like
get the next human trial.
Right? Yeah.
Especially like we're in this era of like we were kind of on a roll with like relatable or understandable villains in movies. Like, you know, you come from
Black
like
Panther,
Killmonger and Black Panther, Thanos in Avengers Infinity War, where like they're
harder,
doing awful things, but like they were made out to be so human or alien, whatever Thanos is, that you could believe that someone could be so demented in their belief that they could do this and think it was the right thing. Where for him, it never like,
like
was his
too.
motivation greed? Or was it a like mad scientist, like, you know, innovation type of greed, you know, where like I want to be the first one to do whatever? Or was it self-preservation, like, you know, about because they say the one line about like, oh, he's trying to get everyone off the planet or himself off the planet. They try to throw some like global warming or overpopulation.
Well,
thing.
the premise. I was gonna say the way I interpret it was, and first off, like, good point, because that was Bane in Dark Knight Rises. You know. His speed, his ferocity, he has the power of belief, right? But it's demonstrated in a way, in a certain way. Right. You know, with Riz Ahmed in this as a villain, you know, the biggest problem I have is he's trying to cure cancer, he's trying to do all these good things, blah blah blah, but there is no actual breakthrough that is demonstrated. Right. So for Bane, it's on a physical level. Like he can dominate like any government. Right. He can. We've infiltrated all of your infrastructure. You know, like all that kind of shit. You know, like so. For Riz Ahmed, there's nothing proved.
He's nothing to show.
He hasn't proved anything in the film that makes him scary. The only thing he has is like, you know, that sort of like Isaac, right? Abraham asks, he does that whole biblical like speech, and then he says like, you have to realize Isaac is the hero, right? And he's supposed to look all like psychotic.
It's him being like a people person in that.
Yeah,
he can convince this guy to essentially sacrifice his life.
The only evil thing he has going for him is that he's a successful 24-year-old. He's a billionaire.
Is he supposed to be 24?
That's what they said.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he's supposed to be 24.
Yeah.
And and that's like, and I
should have
also
harped on that. That could have been a whole thing. Like, you know,
well, no, because that would have been
young.
crazier. That would have been way crazier. And I had the Elon Musk connection too, because I mean the rockets, obviously, but
I feel like the Elon Musk character, like the evil Elon Musk character, has been like overdone since before we knew who Elon Musk was.
Well, it's a device for superhero movies because they want to have these characters who, the villain needs to be created through scientific means usually. So it's usually that. And plus it gives them like this unlimited money. Like, the super millionaire guy of whatever corporation that's the equivalent of Google or whatever they want to do it in their universe. And he's got some crazy idea and he's motivated by greed or whatever. I just didn't really buy the motivation for Riz Ahmed's character in this. Like,
I mean,
he didn't seem greedy. It was maybe an innovation type thing, but
it
was
evil for the sake of being evil.
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
Again, mustache
he wasn't believable, and
he was threatening people's jobs.
Yeah.
Oh, how's your daughter doing? Or whatever. When he was talking to Parks and Rec, the girl.
I think that I'm Jenny Slate.
I'm going to do what you say. Like he was gonna kill her. Like duh. You know, like he's okay. He already expended. Like he was already like human trial thing. Like I get it, but like, where's like the proven evil? He's, you know, his premise is like, oh, this they found a comet. It's like slipped in. They're like, we found this comet and there was millions of organisms on it, and he thought that if we can join with them when the Earth dies, if the Earth dies, we can survive anywhere. There's like way too many ifs in that. It's just jumps. It's just like I don't see what you're talking about.
He like immediately assumes he's like, oh, well, if they can survive down here, then we can survive up there. If we're
Right.
But they can't survive
you a
down there unless
scientist?
they pair to a human host, right?
I mean,
yeah,
yeah.
because they need to breathe air. Okay, come on. Look how smart Venom is. He can manipulate an entire person's body and mind. Not to mention Michelle Williams, and I'm gonna say Michelle Williams.
What are you doing here?
As Venom was pretty hot. I have to say.
No, I'm gonna get to that. We're gonna get to the kiss scene.
Okay, sorry.
Let's talk about how out of place she is in this movie.
Okay, I know. I'm just like, I'm a
Michelle-
She's a fantastic actress, and I don't think she
Michelle, blink twice if you're in trouble.
I don't think she does a horrible job here. She
I just
has
love
no,
her. I just
no
love her so
place
much.
being in this movie. Like, she literally, the physicality of her face, she does not belong in this movie. She has a face that's made for like heart-wrenching drama. You know,
Like
she, that's
Dawson's
why
Creek.
she's perfect in
What
Manchester
is-
by the Sea.
What is
or
her wig
Drive.
doing in
Blue
this movie?
Valentine? Or like, oh God, yeah. Whatever.
Did you
Drive.
guys see her wig with like the fucking middle part? Like she's in the fucking Partridge Family.
Yeah, her new boyfriend sucked too.
As an actor or just as a
No,
character?
just the character. It's like,
yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm a doctor.
He's Dan from Veep. He's fantastic in Veep.
Yeah, well,
I watched
he's
that
no. I'm
show.
saying the actor's great. I'm just saying like the character is like, oh, I'm gonna fix you. The dude was eating lobsters, like
He's a
in
good
a
guy.
restaurant. This movie was awesome. Okay, let's face it. No, but there's a lot to unpack. So yeah. So where were we?
Michelle, I think
yeah,
they could have
okay.
put someone else besides Michelle Williams in the role. I think she's underutilized for her dramatic potential. Like that's the point where you probably could have put like your more stereotypical, you know, superhero like hot girl in that role. You know, like Michelle, she doesn't have the look to be sort of just like the girlfriend sort of character. You know what I mean? Like she's. You look at her and I just can't not think of like all the time she's made me cry.
So who would-
in movies before? I don't know exactly who. Like I think Olivia Munn is someone you could put in there, or just anybody else. I think besides Michelle, it just seems like a weird casting. For this
Carey
movie.
Mulligan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's got. I think it's like Michelle Williams has like these eyes that are like always sort of squinted in like a drama sense, where like they're never like big and open and like, you know, curious.
Not a lot of
and vulnerable.
expressions.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about Mount Erie for a while. Wait, have you heard of the band or like the musical artist Mount Erie? Okay, never
Can't
mind.
say I
It was
have.
just okay. He was when you said like Michelle Williams' new boyfriend or whatever, it was like this guy.
Her real life boyfriend.
Yeah. Mount
Oh.
Erie, who wrote.
Wait, is that his name?
Yeah, well, I don't know his actual name, like Phil something, but he's like he's a part of this music project called Mount
Okay.
Erie, and he wrote. He's written a lot of beautiful music, but he wrote a devastatingly beautiful album about his wife dying, and it's fucking heartbreaking. And I don't even remember what the album's name is. It's fucking like look up Mount Erie.
Is it
But-
about Michelle Williams?
No. But
dead.
his
Rest in
his wife died, and then months
Sorry.
later,
guys.
months later, he married Michelle Williams, which kind of like lessens the album in a bit because he's just so heartbroken and
How
everything.
sad were you?
Right. It's kind of like the Patton Oswalt thing where like his wife died and then he married like a hot actress, and it's kind of like, well, how sad were you about like the kind of, you know,
That might
it's
actually
one of
be
those
pretty
things.
pretty
Right,
sad
yeah.
though. I mean, if you think about it.
it most definitely is, and I'm sure, you know, when you want to marry again and you're at that level of popularity, I'm sure it's very easy to marry somebody else, and it moves fast, and maybe you have a better understanding of how life moves fast and everything. I don't know. It was just a funny comment I wanted to say,
Well,
and then it turned into
actually-
something fucking serious, and then
Well, actually, no, it's actually kind of cool because, you know, Eddie Brock and, forgive me, I forget Michelle Williams' character's name. I'm a scumbag.
No.
Sorry.
yeah, I don't know.
But they were engaged, and she
Anna or
dropped
Ann?
him. She dropped him like a bad habit, just because he was trying to prove that frickin' Bodhi was a murderer.
She lost her job.
She lost her
It
job.
was kind of a shitty thing for
Yeah,
him
that
to
breakup.
do.
That breakup was very.
Like it was an invasion. He invaded her privacy.
It was very mulled over though a little bit, I think, because there was no argument about it. It was just like, we're done. She puts like the ring in his pocket. You know, there wasn't any, like, the amount of time you spent in the first,
I'd break up with Eddie Brock over that, though.
And no, I'm saying break up with him, though.
Oh,
and like in the first, like, there's probably 5 minutes in the beginning of the movie that you could cut to like make that scene better.
Right.
Like make him really want her back. Like make that hurt.
Oh,
like,
definitely.
There's a whole movie called The Breakup.
God,
you know, you could spend 5 minutes.
Venom should have been a romantic.
Venom
Spend
should have
5 fucking
the
minutes on it.
breakup.
I'm just saying.
If you
like,
break up with somebody you're engaged to, that's
never
a huge deal. Right.
I just when that happened, I was like, oh.
They do kind of come back to that, though.
It's
not that I really want to defend this movie, but like later on, when he
defend
shows up
it
at
later.
her apartment, they did have a nice scene where he's kind of like, I don't know, like a couple weeks ago, like we were gonna be married, and now, like, I just miss you. Like,
That's pretty true.
We're not together.
Yeah.
Like they kind of come back to it and approach it with a little bit more depth in that scene when he's just outside of her apartment.
I also saw an interview with Michelle Williams where she, like, long story short, kind of roundabout way of saying, she's like, I did this movie for the money, kind of thing. And I was just kind of like, yeah, no, everybody in this movie did this for the
no, I think Tom Hardy believed in this a lot.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I follow this girl on Instagram that I'm, like, kind of friends with, and she does casting in, like, Atlanta, and she was like, we filmed the entire movie, and then we refilmed this entire movie because Tom Hardy was like, no.
That's pretty common, though.
Right? No. Definitely.
Reshoots are really common, especially with that budget.
Reshoots are very common, but I mean, she's worked on a ton of other movies, like including like First Man or whatever that's coming out, and like she was like, I've never like reshot an entire movie, recasting people, yada
like
yada.
More than 90%.
Yes, yeah. It's
Jesus
just like
Christ.
Crazy. Like Tom Hardy was.
I'm allowed to swear on this podcast, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fuck
yeah, dude.
Yeah,
good for you,
bro. Yeah.
Good for you. Yeah, I don't know.
Hey, good for you, man.
Nice to meet you all. I just came.
Welcome.
I was working all day. I can't do that.
Do not sell cars with the F word. What you're gonna use is
Maybe I'm buying this fucking Toyota right now, dude.
If F word means Subaru Forester.
Financing.
Yeah, Subaru fucking Forester. Got one.
Yeah, I'm a piece of shit.
You know, honestly, though, I just okay. I'm gonna trash this movie a lot, but I want to kind of get on the record saying, like, say what you will about this movie, but fucking, I mean, okay, it's no secret that I don't like black.
What?
I mixed up all my words. It's no secret that I don't like Black Panther or Infinity War. The minute it started to come out, it's no secret that I don't like. That
you don't like black
strange.
jeans.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
It's no secret that I don't like, Infinity War. I don't like Black Panther. I don't like superhero movies, really. But say what you will about this movie, but at least this movie isn't on the fucking rails like those movies are. Those movies are, like, on the rails, and their fucking focus group within an inch of their lives. I have no idea where this fucking movie's going. It's a fucking, like...
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, I don't know. Like, they're doing whatever they want, kind of. Which is... It's admirable in a little bit, but, like, also this movie doesn't know where it's going either, which is
So-
not
It
a good...
takes a long time for this movie to find its stride.
Yeah,
I'll tell you where I think it finds its stride. Is
When he becomes Venom.
So you have...
Yeah, no, I
well,
agree.
even after that, because I think Tom Hardy is fine. I think I kind of can get into him as Eddie Brock. Mm-hmm. Like, I've read reviews that have said that, like, Tom Hardy is acting this like he's in a comedy. One review specified that too. Tom Hardy's acting this like he's in The Mask, and everyone else is playing this like a serious,
This
dark,
movie
like
is The
R-rated
Mask.
drama movie. Yeah.
This movie is The Mask, and it steals liberally from
And it
The
would
Mask.
work.
He's
if,
very
it would
distressed
Work, it would
the
work
whole
if
time.
they got into this movie with that intention from the beginning. Because I think if you're going, like, you can't make a dark villain movie where the villain is the protagonist of it. You know, like it's got to be like, that's why, like, Deadpool kind of works, where, like, technically he's a hero, but he's not going out to save people. He's out to save his own ass, to do his own shit.
Right.
He's not trying to be a good guy. He's a piece of shit person, and it works because he's irreverent and it's funny and stuff like that. And I think you could have done something like that with Venom. So like you have like Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock, that's kind of working for me. You know, it's a little bit funny. He's got this kind of goofy character, like, yeah, I don't know, like whatever fucking New York accent or whatever.
Yeah.
It works. It's humorous just to watch him go through that, and everyone else.
I'm not feeling so good, Eddie. I think I'm very hungry. Oh, you're so hungry. I got food.
And everyone else is playing it so serious, and then Venom comes along, and
He's
Venom,
the best character.
But when Venom starts out, he's a little too serious for me, where it's like, you know, he's dark, he's talking about eating shit and whatnot. There's a point where, like, after, like, Venom's already been, like, in the Michelle Williams character, and then comes back to Tom Hardy, and right as they're, like, about to go to, like, the spaceship towards, like, the end of this movie, we're kind of in spoiler territory now.
Yeah, let's call it spoilers.
Yeah.
From here on out.
So
if you really want to see Venom, go see Venom now and pause
We spoiled
like
a bunch already.
when Venom comes back, he's trying to help Tom Hardy out with stopping the spaceship, and Tom's like, "Well, wait, why do you want to help me out?" And he's like, "I'm kind of a loser on my planet." That's where I think this movie hits its fucking stride. But it's
Too late.
the movie's about to end at that point.
Yeah.
They needed to hit that moment so much earlier, because you have, like, I think it's so much better to have Tom Hardy, who is kind of this sort of tough ass kind of guy, and he gets brought to his knees by Venom. It's funnier if Venom is this kind of like, yeah, look, I'm a loser on my fucking planet, but compared to you, I'm a fucking, like, awesome guy, and that makes me feel great. And, you know, you're a fucking pussy, as he literally says in, like, this movie.
Well,
like, get to that point earlier. Have Venom be relating to Tom Hardy, because Tom Hardy feels like he's a loser at that point on this planet.
I was like really hoping you didn't catch that line, because I thought that was like the funniest line of this fucking
It was so
movie.
good. It was so good.
It was just like this, and it was like I said before. It like this movie is kind of the same plot as The Predator, where it's kind of like we came to Earth to destroy Earth, but Earth's actually not so bad.
It's not so bad.
And then that one line, like, on my planet, I'm a loser just like you.
But it happened sooner. It happened sooner than that. Remember when? So apparently Eddie Brock is afraid of heights, right? Classic. Your
planet's not so bad.
It's kind of
Yeah.
beautiful.
Not so
Yeah.
ugly.
So he
It's
goes.
not so much that, it's the vulnerability that I'm looking for. Where Venom
Yeah.
has that sort of confession of, like,
where he's like, "I'm not the best. I'm not the best of my kind."
like, to your point earlier,
Yeah.
Venom and Eddie Brock need to meet earlier in this movie. I don't
Absolutely.
need half of this movie as Eddie Brock as a journalist.
Yeah.
They need
We
to meet
get it.
earlier, and then we can get earlier to that sort of they've been with each other, inside of each other.
Isn't
long
there a
enough.
quicker way to make a human loser? I mean, look at me. No, I'm just kidding. But,
also, Eddie
not
Brock could
seriously.
This is
be
the guy
less-
wearing a button down.
Eddie Brock could be less cool, I think.
Oh yeah,
yeah, he doesn't need the-
or
he doesn't need the
try to be less
tattoos.
cool. He could just be. I mean,
He could be Topher Grace.
Okay, fucking A, he could
He could
not,
be a
he
lot
could
of
not ride a motorcycle to his next journalist interview. Like,
and his like it was okay. The scene.
Nobody likes me.
Remember when they were setting up the scene with him and Michelle Williams going on a date in the beginning, and she's like, "Feed the cat," and he's like, "Bring your helmet." She's like, "Feed the cat," and then he's just like, "Make sure you bring your helmet," or whatever. And then
I rode a motorcycle.
yeah, and then it just there's a shot of them like on the motorcycle, and he's wearing a black helmet, she's wearing a white helmet, and it's like one of those like a side mirror cameras, just scenes. It's like, oh, okay, he rides a bike, I get it.
yeah,
Like you probably
He's cooler than me. All right.
you probably could have saved
Tom Hardy fucks.
you probably could have saved like a minute and a half of just you know what I'm saying, like
Yeah.
let's like I wanted him to be Venom so much sooner, and that's where I agree like 100%, because the best part of this movie is the dynamic of those two talking. You know, fuck the alter ego. You know, they are bound to each other, literally. They can be apart, but they always end up together. And like he, you know, of all of his failings, right? So his failings are being selfish, right? He's selfish. Okay, that's simple. And then you have Venom, who is super selfish. Like in the beginning, he was saying, you know, he went up to the you want up, right? He says
Upsies.
you want to go up, right? And he's like, sure. Right, because he couldn't get past his buddy, his buddy in the beginning, who his daughter went to MIT, whatever. He's compassionate. That's his strength. That's Eddie Brock's strength. He's compassionate, right? Now, Venom doesn't know compassion. He learns compassion from Eddie Brock. Right. So Eddie Brock is also afraid of heights, and Venom goes, "Oh, you want up?" So he goes up to the top of the thing, and Eddie Brock's all like, whatever, and he gets to see Earth from a different perspective, not from space, because it just looks like a little blue ball, probably, which that shot should have happened, which it didn't. Doesn't matter, because what are these aliens? Doesn't matter. But what I'm saying is, Venom gets up top and he says, "Not so bad after all." Like he sees it and he just goes, "From up here, it doesn't look so bad." Well, it's too bad you're all going to die. But at that point in the movie, you still think that Venom's speech, he's I need the rocket from Bodhi Rook. Riz Ahmed's
Does
character.
Tom Hardy do the Venom voice?
I wish I knew that. But
he probably does.
At that point,
he's credited as Venom.
Yeah,
in the IMDb page. Yeah.
At that point in the movie, you still think that, like, shit, man, this human has to, and you think he's going to eat his liver because he's going to eat everything. He likes biting heads off. Like, you don't know what's going to happen, right? But then, as soon as, to your point, he takes on Michelle Williams' body through the dog, which was very glazed over,
very mask-like.
Yeah, that was a cut shot.
Takes
a
lot from the mask.
The rated R version, I feel like that was a little bit more involved.
What, with the dog, or
because no, a lot of stuff, but you don't see Venom occupy Michelle Williams' character's body, right? But
it's just a reveal. But Venom shows up and makes out with Tom Hardy.
Right. But what I'm saying is you go from him saying, "Oh, the Earth's not so bad, too bad you're all going to die," and then from that point, the next time, when he says, "I've decided to stay," right? That's after he occupies Michelle Williams, right? And at the end, like you said, when they talk about the kiss.
Yeah.
Venom in his head at the end, he says, "That was my idea." Right.
Or he says, she
doesn't know. She wants us. She wants us.
She doesn't realize we're going to end up together. Or
we're gonna get her back.
So that comedy is where I think the movie needed to get to before.
Yes,
because it's a ridiculous concept.
There's a lot of minutes
if he's not going to be the big baddie of a superhero movie, then it needs to be a comedy, a full-on comedy.
Yeah.
Totally commit to it.
And the point,
and it can be a dark comedy too.
The point I wanted to make was when he says, like, "On my planet, I'm a loser just like you." I laughed for fucking like 5 minutes in the movie theater after that, because it was such a ridiculous line in the movie that I was watching.
Yeah.
But then I started
But it's
to realize
from the movie it should have been.
But then I started to realize, I was like, God damn it, lean into that line. That could have been like a really good movie. Like, it's these two fucking losers who get together.
It could have just been those two the whole time.
It's fucking Frick the Mighty or something. Remember that movie? Like, it's just like, it's like these two, I don't know.
Jump.
Right, yeah. It's
pussy.
Yeah, it's
right.
When he called Tom Hardy a pussy.
Yeah, when he jumps, he refuses to jump out of the building, and he's pussy. He takes the elevator. Boop.
The kiss scene was so weird, though. It was like Tom Hardy was alone in the woods.
But you see how
then Venom with like
big tall Venom,
gigantic breast shows up. Like Venom with fucking huge breast is like, hell yeah. How's it going?
But it wasn't. It was a higher register.
Oh no, yeah.
It was like a higher register. So I was like,
I don't know, but like all I know is that a Venom with like a big booty and giant breast shows up, and he's like, "Let's fucking make out." And it was like maybe the weirdest scene I've seen this year.
I saw a lot of negative reviews harping on that scene, being like, Tom Hardy makes out with Venom, and I'm not joking. And I didn't realize it was going to come that context in this movie.
But Venom in that movie is like, well, because that mirrors the scene at the end, though. Remember when he's fighting Riz Ahmed, and him and Riot, like they join, right? Mm-hmm. into a same body, and then they get separated again, and they're fighting, and it's like, what is what? Like, what is who is who? It's like identity is out the window, basically. When you're Venom, when you're Riot, right? When this parasite is occupying you, your identity is out the window. It's not an alter ego. You know what I'm saying? Like it's.
I also like in that final scene with Michelle Williams, where it's sort of like implied that like Venom is just kind of like licking your asshole the entire time. But she's like it feels good to be Venom, you know, like. You know what I mean? It feels good.
It felt pretty good.
Unlike you know what I'm talking about.
Unlike a statistical, unlike a kind of like the rules that this movie provides, kind of level is that I'm okay with Riot kind of going from, you know, old lady to little girl to dog, even though it's manipulative. It borrows very much from The Mask, but I could also kind of get behind like, okay, he's merging with these people who have like kind of like this same like mythical like blood type kind of, because they're in Riz Ahmed's like lab, people's like organs are fucking like shutting down, like that kind of. But when like Venom merges with Michelle Williams and she's able to turn into Venom, I was just kind of like, I feel like that's pretty convenient for this plot, for her to show up as full Venom and for her to not be like, my liver's failing. Like, you know, like it was just very.
I just have another sort of take on it. It's so it's almost kind of taken from the sort of the Alien universe, where you have different stages of evolution, right? So, you know, you have like the protomorph, xenomorph sort of type of evolution. You have the face hugger that turns into the, you know.
Yeah.
So maybe there's something like that, because in the movie, right, Riz Ahmed's character, and I'm sorry, I keep forgetting his name. Forgive me.
No problem.
Yeah.
Who?
Carlton Drake.
Carlton Drake. Yeah. So Carlton Drake,
forever.
His big thing was like sweeping up, you know, homeless people off the street and doing human trials on them.
Yes.
And that makes him a big bad villain. And when he gets mad, I just am not afraid of him. But
I'm sorry, I'm just reading through the Wikipedia right here, and I just stumbled across this line. Hardy was drawn to this duality and compared the two characters to Ren and Stimpy.
That makes a lot of
Venom
sense.
And Brock.
That makes a lot of sense.
Oh no.
You know, in Ren and Stimpy, they cured pink eye with with belly button lint.
With belly button lint.
Is that this movie?
I think so.
Did we just figure it out at that point?
Yeah. God, like, I wanted this movie to be better. I also wanted it to be worse, because I heard so many awful reviews of this movie.
They really kind of meet in the middle.
I heard so much expectation for this movie to be like,
but there's parts in this movie.
Like, you want this movie to be The Room.
Yeah, like people were saying like it was like the most misguided movie they had ever seen. Like, how could anyone ever make a movie this bad?
Come on.
It seems like every other superhero movie to me, and just as bad.
See, no, that was my problem with this movie, is that I too wanted. I mean, honestly, I laughed for fucking 5 minutes after I'm a loser on my planet, just like you. That's funny. And
it's funny because it comes 2 hours into the movie.
It's funny. And
no, it needed to happen sooner.
Yeah.
But they still.
Eddie brought. I was listening to a podcast where like a theater full of like critics like laughed like 24 times, like at the wrong parts, kind of like parts that weren't meant to be funny, because there is built-in humor into this movie. And I think that's why critics gave it like a bad movie. But honestly, this movie ends up like, I was ready to go into this movie ready to be like I'm laughing at how bad it is, but it ends up coming out like kind of like, again, I don't like yada yada yada, like like insert Marvel movie here.
You have like objections like to certain shit.
It ends up
it's
kind
just
of
like
being like a taller soapbox to be like, hey man, I don't think we need any more like superhero movies. Like,
but how is it an
fucking
80?
bad?
How is it an $80 million soapbox?
No, exactly. Well, no, I mean,
I think Venom is
Well-
a very beloved character that has not been explored. I was
And
reading into
actually-
how sort of the Sam Raimi trilogy. One of the reasons it stopped is because the studio was kind of like Sam, you're just kind of doing your personal favorite Spider-Man character. You haven't done like the best Spider-Man villains. Like he didn't get into all the villains that like people actually want to see.
He barely did.
Yeah, like
Barely.
they had to wait until like
Yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man to actually get into
Yeah.
like Lizard, one of the biggest Spider-Man villains.
Barely.
Rhino, Kraven,
Yeah.
and then Venom and Carnage are like obviously
Nah,
the other
because-
biggest ones.
because they
he
blocked-
he did his personal favorites.
well, here's how did this movie, how did this movie make 80 million its first weekend? I think
I'll tell you.
there's there's a built-in Marvel audience that goes to every movie. I think we can account for that. But then
And the movie audience.
Again, it's October and it benefits from like
There's nothing else out.
or even just like it doesn't have like the weight that like a fucking like Marvel, like a true Marvel movie would have.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of like, oh, I gotta follow along with this. This movie Venom will explain it all to me. But this movie was 59% male and 64% under the age of 25, which is the case for most superhero movies. But it's really fucking like, those stats are really fucking heavy. Like, it's just like, again, like I said,
and
this
also
movie.
One Direction fan females who got into Tom Hardy via Dunkirk.
That point 7, right, equates to maybe $1 million.
But it's also like
That
this
extra $1 million that you
This movie
get.
was shot as an R-rated film, like I said before, and it was
Yeah.
cut down to a PG-13 film.
I
which
agree.
I usually would, like I said, I usually would criticize, but I can't even tell where the R-rated, besides like, I think we should put all the heads in one corner. That was the only time where I was like, oh, maybe this was an R-rated film at one
That's
point.
where I thought it was going to become a dead because I went into this so cold because I am way underprepared compared to you guys. My bad. But I went into it cold and I had a good time because I was like, I came out of Deadpool 2, when I watched it, and I was like, okay, kind of the same production company.
Right.
Same production companies. I was like, is this motherfucker about to like bite 5 heads off?
Right.
Like he just said, let's bite 5 heads off and put them into the corner. Right. All that kind of shit. And then his neighbor, who is my dude, who just jams on the guitar, and the weaknesses, right? We didn't touch on the weaknesses. Fire and 60
Like high frequency sounds.
60
4 to 6,000
kilohertz.
Something, whatever,
Yeah. Those weaknesses. My one main objection of this film is how the fuck did Venom not die at the end? He made a parachute thing to save Eddie Brock at the end.
Right.
And I thought Venom was dead. And then it kind of just like...
Yeah, they didn't really explain why.
Suspend-
Because he even
suspend your-
says like goodbye or good luck or whatever.
No, he said, have a good life. And that's the
Yeah.
third time they did it. The first time he did it was when, forgive me, the
he got
villain...
fired.
The villain is not memorable. Carlton Drake.
You can go by his actor
Yeah.
name.
Riz Ahmed said,
Oh, yeah. Have a good life. Yeah.
have a good life. And then when their engagement got broken, Michelle Williams says, she puts the ring, have a good life. Pats him on the, right? And then Venom, right before he saves his life, says, have a good life.
Yeah.
So his life is always trying to be safe. So I guess like the Eddie Brock character, if you want to break it down, he's willing to sacrifice anything. Venom learns to sacrifice everything. And at the end of it, they end up together again, which is awesome. But then you get a confident Eddie Drake or Eddie Brock. Sorry. You get a confident Eddie Brock. He's strutting a little bit more. You get more of a Tom Hardy character. So you look forward to a sequel because I'm used to a confident Tom Hardy character.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you have you have this Eddie Brock character who is like distressed for the whole film. Oh, I don't feel so good. Like the whole time he's so distressed. Like it's almost like he's overacting, but he looks sick. He's jumping into lobster fucking tanks.
Yeah.
He's eating fucking. He's burning himself.
That was like the comedy it really needed.
I don't mind that scene at all. Yeah, I think that's like really.
Yeah, it was
Tom
like crazy.
Hardy, like it's go hard or go home.
It was like the craziest shit I've ever seen.
He didn't go home there. I mean, like what I also wanted to say is
he's like
it's just kind of like one fucking like those statistics that I brought up. It's kind of like these 13-year-olds that want to go see this movie
probably loved it.
They don't fucking like look at Rotten Tomatoes and like, well, the
and
critics said this, and they
Brian Truitt from USA Today didn't think it was a good movie.
Yeah, exactly. They don't listen to that. They're just like,
they go to see a movie and it's probably dope as shit.
Like, I fucking saw Venom and it was fucking tight, dude. And
it's probably just as good as like Spider-Man when we went to go see it in 2001.
Had really big
in 2001. Yeah, that's because we're freaking not 9/11 babies. Just kidding.
Right, yeah.
9/11 babies. We love this movie.
The first Spider-Man came out in 2001.
Venom was probably great if you didn't have to see the Twin Towers fall.
Oh, baby. Yeah. If you're fresh off
this movie does feel like it was something that was made like after like the Ben Affleck.
It's the reset.
Like it feels like
let's reset a little bit. Like let's suspend our disbelief.
This feels like an early superhero movie. This feels
it's great.
This feels like something that was made after Ben
Affleck.
Affleck's
They took the 1997 script that was supposed to have Dolph Lundgren in it.
No, it literally feels
Superman
like
Lives.
It literally feels like it was made after like Daredevil or something.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And it wasn't released until now. Like it felt like fucking like okay. Venom came to being because of like Spawn or something. Like in the 90s,
created by Todd McFarlane. Yeah,
right. In the 90s, it was cool to like make dark, gritty shit, kind of. I don't know. It was just like it just felt like a 90s movie through and through. Even at the end, when it like ended with a fucking Eminem song, and it was like Venom, let's go get him.
Oh,
better wear denim.
The post credits.
Let's go denim.
The post credits.
I mean Venom.
The credits. This song. It's like oh man, what did it remind me of?
It felt like a 90s
just
movie.
Like a 90s. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the 90s where like they would hire like whoever was the hottest.
Write a soundtrack for the for a Batman Forever. You have Seal, baby. You have the whole thing. And then there's the promotion on the VHS beforehand.
Batman Forever has a great soundtrack.
So good. Terrible movie. Great soundtrack.
Cut the hiccups late in this episode. It's killing me.
Did you have too many Neshaminy Creeks there, Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
I don't know. This movie was fun.
It was very fun.
It was fun for how all over the place it was.
But it kind of pulled itself together.
It's not boring. And here's what I'm gonna say is that like I think I don't know. I think there's two different approaches of like
I have a positive approach.
There's two different approaches about bad movies.
Yeah.
I think some bad movies are fucking like
very bad.
This is fucking like boring. This movie is nonstop entertainment.
It wasn't a waste of time. I honestly don't think that.
It's kind of like we reviewed like The Mummy with Tom Cruise, which isn't good, but it's like it's nonstop entertainment. Like this movie's even more nonstop entertainment. There's always some sort of action to be had.
Okay, I have a point to make, and it has a little bit to do with the movie, but it has a lot to do with Rotten Tomatoes and how much of a scam I think it is. Motherfuckers. Okay, so we're going to go off track a little bit, and I am the guest, so bear with me.
I have order so in the court.
You guys can check me down all you want, but Rotten Tomatoes gave Venom 30%. You know what they gave the movie Hook?
Are you gonna trash Hook right now?
No, I am not going to trash Hook. That's my fucking favorite movie of all time.
So sorry, listeners.
Not really my favorite movie of all time, but it's definitely, if you ask me if when I was like 8, it's definitely my favorite movie of all time. They gave Hook a 28%. Okay.
How many reviews though?
I don't,
Because that's an old movie, so it's pre-Rotten Tomatoes, so they're trying to pull old reviews that they can find.
28%?
Published online. Excuse
28% for Hook? Kidding me? It's a scam. That's all I'm saying. So go see Venom and make your own opinion. That's all I'm saying.
Also, I think you can follow the kind of box office.
The audience score was 80%.
Right? No.
Yeah, it was 80%. Yeah, yeah. It was
the
people.
campaign of a Star is Born fan.
I mean, you go to see a movie and you want to like it. If you give it an 8 out of a 10, I mean, let's go.
The most impressed I was by this movie, and it's like, sure, it made $80 million, but I think this movie had a fucking terrible trailer that like
it was probably terrible.
It almost like advertised an unwatchable movie. Like that's how bad the trailer.
They barely showed
this
actual
movie
Venom.
was.
They doubled down on the effect of him becoming Venom.
Yeah, and it was
it
was Jenny Slate saying like symbiote like the entire time, and they obviously took that to heart when people like complained about that, and every time in the movie she says symbiote in this movie or vice versa or whatever. They changed it or whatever, but
they don't spend enough time on the science.
Yeah,
at all. There's no science. I mean, I get it. It's just, but if you're gonna make it scientific, like don't make it something that you have to spend time on science. Right.
But yeah, I was just so, I don't know, like we have a Facebook group, and I think everyone was kind of like ribbing on it, and was like, oh, that movie looks fucking stupid,
especially,
and kind of like ribbed on it, and it's just kind of crazy that like right out of the gate it makes $80 million on its first weekend. I think that's strange. I don't know, it's weird.
Well, it's sci-fi science, right? Okay, so remember when he's in the lab, right? He's at mission control when the rocket goes off. That's when he turns into Riot, right? In the same way that I wish that Eddie Brock would have turned into Venom sooner. I wish that, forgive me, Carlton Drake would have turned into Riot sooner, right? Get a scarier villain than Riz Ahmed. No offense, Riz Ahmed. I loved you in Rogue One. I just gotta say, Bodhi Rook, I understand your sacrifice.
In The Night of on HBO.
Oh my God, he's also good. He's also good in the Golden Eagle, with
Fantastic
Channing
actor.
Tatum.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. It's a film about the Roman legion that got lost. Riz Ahmed, I love you. Just saying. But you got to be scarier.
Well, I mean,
no, he wasn't scary all by himself. He was not. I mean, you have to put somebody else there, unless it's just Riot in the first place, because Riot was the scariest thing I've ever seen. Because Venom says he's got shit you've never seen before, right, and he's got these axes, and he's got.
It's also like if you get to the if you get to Venom being a loser on his planet, and like Riot's the fucking bully on his planet.
But Venom kicked ass the whole time before.
Create that connection earlier. You know, have Venom be like, yeah, I'm a fucking loser on my planet, and I kind of like ran away here with my tail between my legs, and fucking Riot followed me here, and he's a fucking asshole on my planet. Like, have that personal connection between Venom and Riot established earlier on, rather than like, all right, let's just kind of throw this exposition in here before we go to the final rocket fight scene.
Yeah, the CGI in this movie is kind of garbage, though.
Oh, yeah.
Well, when he initially becomes Venom, I feel like they spent all the money on that shot.
Yeah.
And then they just kind of like, because the beginning shot.
Yeah. I don't know.
Was pretty garbage.
And then
the motorcycle shit.
Yeah,
I was like, that's not really. Well, I was just like, that's physically like you could just
There
do
was
that.
times where this movie was kind of like half like Inspector Gadget, half like Flubber,
it was a lot like Flubber.
gooey
Yeah,
arms.
Or it was like the you know how like the Kingsman movies are, how there's like the physics don't work, but they try to make it real. You know, because like when in the Kingsman movies, you have to understand that like going into it, you have to suspend your disbelief. Right. These are comic book movies. This is all effects. Like go into it like you're watching Clone Wars, you know. But but like you're watching this movie and you expect it to be a Marvel movie, and it's like, okay, how the fuck?
It's not necessarily the physics of it. It's just a goofy look to have him like driving the motorcycle.
It just doesn't look good.
I accept that a alien symbiote that comes here and is fusing with a human's body could probably extend his gooey little black arms out. It just looks real goofy to have him like,
it's just too safe.
Grab the motorcycle.
But also,
Please comment below with how to stop hiccups.
CGI doesn't look good. Spoiler alert.
20 sips of water. Little sips.
Spoiler alert.
20 little sips.
At the third act of this movie,
let's get into the end.
Well, spoiler alert: the end of this movie, as many superhero movies are, it's Venom fighting another Venom, and it's also a
superior Venom.
It's kind of confusing because again, when the CGI is bad, we have this kind of like jet black blob of goo fighting this kind
and it's in the dark
blue navy. No, exactly. Jet black blob of
in
glue
the dark
fighting this like kind of jet black blob of glue or
it's globular fission
with
globular fission
in the dark. You know, like it's crazy. I don't know. At some point near the end, I started to have like Transformers PSTD because I was like, I don't really know what
I can't perceive this CGI.
I really
I can't see everything.
I don't,
what the fuck am I watching?
Right, like I entirely don't know what I'm watching. And then also like it's crazy that like, you know, even in Black Panther, it's kind of like, oh, it's Black Panther versus another Black Panther kind of. And it's crazy in this movie that Venom fights another Venom because Venom is just kind of like this better version of Spider-Man. So it's just kind of like all these different like clones kind of fighting each other. It's like a weird
Venom is a less moral version of Spider-Man.
Well, he's a version of Spider-Man who's better in every way, and like I think
physically better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Spider-Man has. So it's always like your morals are always working against you because you can't make the tough decisions. Mm-hmm. Right? Venom can make the tough decisions. Venom can bite a head off if he wants to.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So that's the difference. And I feel like that's how they might work it into the universe. They might not. But Venom, in and of itself, has, in my opinion, it's done well. I mean, that movie worked for me. The relationship between Eddie Brock and Venom works for me because they had to work it out together. And you're right, and you're right. You got to get to it sooner. But will this movie on a second watch be better? Watch it a second time.
Right.
It's probably going to be better.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
It's probably
argue no.
yeah, it's probably going to be better a second time. I mean, there's the shit that's bad, it's probably going to be worse. But the shit that's good is probably going to be better.
Right.
You know? And you're still going to be in the same place. But in terms of a story leading into it, I mean, there's already talks of like Venom 2.
They have. Tom Hardy's contracted for 3.
Oh yeah, well he's contracted for 3 movies.
2 more
with that company, right?
This most definitely.
That's all that. That's all that means.
Again, if it's an $80 million opening, they're gonna make another movie.
The budget was 110.
Well, you know who else is contracted for 3 movies? Fucking everybody in the cast of Rogue One.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
that's all it is. But if they decide to do it,
I think
it's a window. It's a window. You know, it's you know, I mean,
Well, the budget listed on Wikipedia is 100 to 116 million estimated. Excuse me, sorry.
You're gonna make me start hiccuping. I'm sorry.
Did your guest just get you fucked up? Is that what happened?
I've never had the hiccups on this podcast before.
Wow.
I took a weird sip of one of the beers, and it's just been
One of the
nonstop.
beers.
I don't know how
One
to.
of the 3 beers that I'm drinking.
Did I do it?
I usually. Hold
I thought you guys had another episode to record
do.
after this.
Oh no, we do. But
Can I join for that one?
if you've seen A Star Is Born,
Well, I'll just
You can hang
chill.
out and drink.
I'll just chill. I mean,
if your girlfriend wants to come, or your. Oh no, I'm sorry.
Oh shit.
Did I just say girlfriend?
Oh, my
it's
bad.
fiance.
Okay.
I usually hold my breath for like X amount of time, and torture myself.
Well, why don't we just do it?
Borderline. Let's
Point
all watch.
I was making is that
let's all watch Mike hold his breath.
I
No,
think with
okay, go on.
the advertising, they had said that they expected they needed to make like 450 million to break even with this movie, and they're at like 394.6 now because they did a lot of advertising.
I'm sure
for
this had
movie.
a lot of advertising. Yeah.
Nah, and I think I'm gonna buy that movie. It's fun. I mean, especially with the end. It's a real cliffhanger, especially with fucking Marty. You got Marty. You got Marty at the end. Marty,
Oh, excuse me.
you still got pussy on your face.
Did she shuck your dick? Did she shuck your dick?
God damn it. All right, so let's get to the end.
Get some rage.
Let's get to these
final
Eddie
thoughts,
Brock lives, Venom survives. We were over that. So let's get to the end. Let's get to the post-credit scene.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Marty.
I mean, what were your thoughts on the post credit scene? Because I already said
I didn't know
Woody
what the fuck was
Harrelson
going
in a
on.
fucking Orphan Annie with
Yeah, I had
that
no
said
idea
there's
what was
gonna
going
be
on.
carnage. Yeah.
See, my favorite thing about movies is when I don't have any fucking clue what's going on.
It also looked like
Yeah.
It
looked like shit. Yes.
It looked like an after credit scene that was filmed before like the first Iron Man or something. You know, like it was just like they didn't know how to do it.
Let me ask you this.
Go for it.
Is it because it was Woody Harrelson?
No, it looked bad.
Did you know it was Woody Harrelson when you saw
Yes,
the hair?
I did. Yes.
Did you know ahead of time?
I didn't know ahead of time.
Okay.
I kind of couldn't believe that Woody. I kind of didn't believe that. I honestly thought this movie was going to do really badly. We didn't even know if we were going to review it like a month ago, kind of. Because I thought it was going to do so bad. But this movie did so good. And I think it was a pretty large surprise that I'm like, what if this movie did really bad because it had such a bad trailer, and then Woody Harrelson is
But what if
attached for like a second movie that's not happening?
Nah, but what if it did?
That would be super
He talked
embarrassing.
about that. He talked about he was like, I'm filming
be
this
so
really
weird.
small part for the Venom movie, and I'm kind of taking a gamble on like I haven't read the script for whatever movie they're going to
Okay,
include me
so-
in, where I'm going to be a big part of.
Well, look at it this way: if you're Sony and you have Woody Harrelson at your disposal,
Or the
No,
director calls in a favor because Woody Harrelson was in his most famous
Okay,
movie,
okay.
Zombieland, right? Yeah.
so you're securing your audience for the second film. If you do Venom 2 and it has Carnage
Right.
with Woody Harrelson being like all fucking psychotic.
But
No, you're
Right.
securing at least the same amount of
oh,
money.
it's fucking,
It's almost like-
fucking insane that,
it's
that
almost-
you have a
yeah.
huge actor connected
Yeah.
to this huge character.
Yep.
It's crazy that it's not
and
just
you
like
and
that-
you have Tom Hardy on the hook too.
it's
Just make the movie in the next year and a
it's-
half.
It's crazy
Yeah.
that it's crazy that it's not Batman Begins, and it's kind of like this is the
There's no
card-
plan.
This
There's
is,
no plan.
This is the card he left,
Yeah.
and it's a Joker card,
Yeah.
kind of. It's fucking. You have Woody
might be there, he
Harrelson-
might be not.
Cameo, yeah, a full scene.
Because
Yeah,
the
it's
story-
a full
the story-
cameo where
but-
like Woody Harrelson is there in a fucking Orphan Annie fucking wig.
Yeah, and the whole story is that Carnage
This
is
is a whole movie to base off of
Yeah,
Woody Harrelson being in an Orphan Annie wig.
yeah, like Carnage is the foe of Venom and Spider-Man.
It's just it's
You know, I mean, it's just no.
It's
there's so much you
crazy
can,
that
there's
they
so
got
much you
him
can
into
do.
this.
It's a classic. They threw in Carnage and they had
and they
Woody
had
Harrelson.
the character.
Yeah.
Right. It's not just like
I almost wish
some guy who calls himself Carnage. I want you to do an interview on it.
There's gonna be. Yeah,
Right. It's
like,
crazy that they don't have that in that he actually visits him in a prison, and I think maybe
no, but that's a part of the story too.
Right.
Eddie
But
Brock.
no,
That's how Eddie Brock meets Carnage.
But like
Do that
Yeah.
next movie.
Yeah. No, I mean
do
that's
that next movie.
it's Venom 2 and
It's
Spider-Man
going
might
back
appear.
to it's going back to Halloween, which will come out next week. But we talk about how Danny McBride and the people he was working with, they wrote out 2 full Halloween movies, and they're like, let's just fucking film them back to back. And then they were like, let's take a step back. What if this comes out and nobody fucking likes the Halloween movie, and then we're just sitting on this one that's going to come out a year later, knowing that it's going to fail as well? To do to cast like Woody Harrelson in this role at the end of the movie without knowing that Venom was going to do okay as it did. It was.
I thought it was going
it
to
was
do
a
bad.
surprise that
I
it
thought
did
Venom
well.
was going to do bad.
The
which
studio
is-
was probably
They went for
surprised.
it.
They
They went
did.
for
They
it
did.
like hard. No, and that's awesome. And like overall, are we about to do our fingers?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're getting,
yeah.
We're getting,
Let's do our fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to get into it, yeah.
I
do
have
it.
one more point to make,
Okay, go for it.
and I wish this would have happened.
Okay.
I wish McConaughey would have been the villain. I really wish he would have been.
Wait, Riz Ahmed's character?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
I wish.
were,
I wish he would have been. I wish. I just wanted. I want McConaughey to say this. Like I want him to be
Okay,
like.
go for it.
I want him to say like, Isaac was the hero. That's all I wanted him to say.
They were.
Isaac.
They were also looking
Abraham.
at Matt Smith
do the
from
whole
Doctor
thing.
Who for that role, and then Pedro Pascal, who was also in
Wait.
Kingman.
So which Doctor Who?
Matt Smith, he was like, I think he was the most famous Doctor.
Oh yeah.
I don't
Oh
know
my
how to,
God.
I don't know which number Doctor he was.
I love Riz
And then
Ahmed.
Pedro Pascal from Game of Thrones. I think
He's not a
in
villain.
Narcos, and then
He's not
in
scary.
Kingsman.
I also applaud Matthew McConaughey for not being in any sort of superhero movies thus far. I fucking
agree.
Star Wars though.
Wait, Matthew McConaughey?
He's not in Star Wars.
I'm thinking Woody Harrelson.
Yeah. I was about to fucking
Woody Harrelson
lose my
was it.
fucking mind.
No.
I do appreciate like I think the trailer just came out a while ago. We posted on the How Many Fingers Am I Holding Up Facebook group. Join it if you want to discuss movies, news, and movie memes.
Absolutely.
But anyway, I posted it. He was just in a trailer for Harmony Korine's next movie, which is called like Beach Bum. He did in like Spring Breakers and everything. And Matthew McConaughey's fucking playing like
I
the
have
role of his life, where he's just this fucking like trashy fucking beach bum who's like fucking drunk and high on like all these drugs and everything. And it looks like a fucking great role. I don't know. I can't like I'm
I
glad,
mean, I have
you know, if Matthew
nothing
McConaughey,
but the utmost respect for that man.
I love Matthew McConaughey.
Have you seen his YouTube channel?
No, I
He has
haven't.
2 videos, and they're a total of 3 minutes long. And all he does is
All right.
be McConaughey.
Good.
That's
yeah.
all he does. Yeah,
some Lincolns.
check it out. Matthew McConaughey YouTube channel. No, like I can't wait for him because his career is the most fascinating thing. I feel like a whole episode of this could be devoted to. I mean, it's just
right.
like the ups and downs, and I mean, it's been almost 30 years. You know, and look at him. But hey, I'm done with that. Let's do our fingers.
Let's
Maybe.
get in the fingers. Oh, the GoPro cut out.
GoPro's still going. The other camera cut out.
Oh, that camera cut out.
Hi guys. Bye guys. All right. So on review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes.
Fuck Rotten Tomatoes.
John's arch nemesis. The
hate
film
it.
holds an approval rating of 31% based on
fuck
252 reviews, with an average rating of 4.5 out of 10. The website
They gave Hook a fucking 28.
Fucking Hook! Fucking Hook! Robin Williams!
The website's critical consensus reads: Venom's first standalone movie turns out
Yo,
to be
Peter.
like the comics
Yo,
character.
Peter. Yo, Peter. The pan? No, my great and worthy opponent. No. Sorry. That
Turns out to be
really
like the
great
comics character in all the wrong ways. Chaotic, noisy, and in desperate need of a stronger attachment to Spider-Man. We didn't have any Facebook group comments this week, but like Joe said, join the Facebook group and you can be featured in future episodes.
I do have a cure for the hiccups.
You do?
Mike. I do.
What is it?
It is 20 Little Sips, brought to you by Lauren Cook.
Lauren Cook.
Yes.
Your
We will.
fiancé?
We will get there. You do have another episode to go, don't you?
20 sips, is that just like
20
1,
little sips.
2,
No,
3,
it's
4,
like a
Is it like
No, you go
spaced out?
It's like a
Oh,
it's
that
like,
sounds
like
pretty fast
little,
though.
little sips. Yeah, you
Uh-huh.
just go,
Tiny sips.
but it's your diaphragm. You gotta realign your diaphragm with
Right.
your.
Let's get some ratings in
Fuck
here.
it.
Who wants to go
All right,
first?
Let's go.
I'll go first.
All right.
I don't. Oh God, I shouldn't have said
What
that.
have you done?
Okay.
We don't know where we are. None of us know. None of us know.
This film is both chaotic and listless.
I love it. I love it so much. I love it. I love talking about it. Too.
It's okay. It's ugly to look at, and it's crazy that it's ugly to look at because it's filmed in San Francisco, which is one of the most beautiful cities in the country, and they kind of somehow make that look ugly. Even though it makes for a lot of great set pieces where they're kind of going down hills and yada yada yada. The pacing is pretty terrible. It's really slow and then it's really fast. I don't even think this movie is really 3 acts. I think it's a little more of just 2-act movie. But again, I think unlike like DC movies, I think like the movie's grittiness can kind of be like undercut by like these kind of like horror elements and these kind of comedic elements, whether comedic elements are, you know, intentional or not. I kind of wanted to have more horror elements.
They talked at one point about being inspired by the works of John Carpenter and I forget the other who's the other big horror director. I'm like, really?
Cool.
I don't know. I wanted them to explore horror elements because like something like you know,
They did bite a couple heads off,
John Carpenter and David Cronenberg.
but they didn't show the heads being bit off.
like
Especially at the end.
Right.
With,
That's true. It was
with
filmed
the,
as R-rated,
with
so
the,
maybe
with
there's
the
other
convenience
stuff in
store. Remember?
Right, yeah.
That was a reoccurring scene. And then you know, in the beginning he was scared and he hid behind the aisle. And then at the end he was like, I'm gonna bite your arms off. And
right,
then I'm gonna bite your other arm off. And then I'm gonna bite your leg off. And I'm gonna bite your other leg off. And then I'm gonna eat your face off. And then you are going to roll down the street. Like, whoa! Like a turd in the wind.
Oh god, that's a gem you can only find on the YouTube video for this episode.
Oh baby!
That was like the
Has that ever happened for you
projectile
guys?
spinning around.
No,
Was it just sitting on the floor
that
that whole
was
time?
crazy. It was just sitting on the
Did
floor.
what happened?
I don't even.
I feel like you half opened it.
Maybe.
What happened?
Because it was like squirting out.
Okay.
I don't.
You
Totally,
didn't shake it or anything.
No, it was just
It could have just been a bad.
It just
a
happened.
crazy occurrence.
An over yeasted.
Like
my
like
gosh.
Venom.
Yes,
Like Venom. Is that how Venom is pretty much?
But let me finish my.
All right.
Regardless of the fucking beer
Give your rating
exploding.
so you can get a towel.
on Jesus, that was scary.
My bad.
This movie is short, and
It was short. Yeah.
it's not like 2 hours plus. It's like it's an hour and a half. The movie's short, and I don't think it carries the thematic weight that some of these other superhero movies carry. So I think maybe that has a lot to do with the appeal. I love all the characters, or all these actors involved. Michelle Williams, Riz Ahmed, Jenny Slate.
Yeah.
Even if I don't like them in this, they have to make money too.
I don't know if
sign up for this.
Yeah, it was just the development was, I feel like, sacrificed there was way too much wasted in the beginning of the movie.
Right.
Because the second half of you're right, it wasn't 3 acts. It was the second half of the movie for me was the best part.
Right.
The moment he turned into Venom. Turn him into Venom sooner. Get that loser complex out of the way sooner.
Right.
I mean, there's a quicker way of doing it when you're writing. He loses his job. He loses his family.
Oh, definitely.
He loses his cat. Feed the cat. All that shit.
Right.
No, it's good, but
it's like when I first started watching this movie, I was kind of like, let's get this movie over with. But then when I see Tom Hardy in Venom, it's kind of like,
that's
all right,
what you're going. That's
this
is
both
the juice.
odd. Yeah, no, this
that's
is both
the juice of it.
Odd and fun. Even though that's interesting. Whereas this movie could have,
I haven't seen
Venom starring Tom Hardy, kind of, whereas that maybe could have been the career launching title for Tom Hardy.
Right.
I think it was.
He wasn't billed.
It's become more of it will probably be more of the career curiosity of Tom Hardy.
He was Venom.
Why did this happen? Exactly.
He played Venom?
Yeah, right.
I didn't realize that.
This movie's kind of dumb as rocks at points. I think it's just, I don't know. I don't completely get it. I like the.
Did you enjoy watching it?
I did enjoy watching it, but I also love this
maybe
movie.
Maybe that's all it is.
Right. I also like this movie the first time when it was called The Mask. It was
it's not supposed to be. It's not supposed to be it's not supposed to be a particularly brilliant movie.
No, exactly.
It is what it is.
And I think this I honestly, I have to say this movie is more fun than any of the Amazing Spider-Man movies. Just because the Amazing Spider movies,
I agree,
they're fucking self-serious, and at least this was fun.
That's
all I can say about
this movie. Didn't stick to any brand other than Sony and whatever everything sticks to a brand. But they definitely bit a bunch of heads off. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
The thing I liked was when Venom was able to stick to the body and remove from the body. You and I need to be together.
I thought that's when they were gonna make out. That's what I thought they meant about he's gonna make out with Venom.
No, that shit was awesome. When it could leave his body and just be like, I'm a part of you. Do you want to die or do you want to? That shit was actually. That's why I'm saying it deserves a second watch. Right,
but
and that's
I think when you start to look into it too much, you start to be like, okay, then why was Michelle Williams sexy Venom, and how was
Michelle Williams was casted?
How was she? How was she able to get across town? Kind of. It's kind of I think if you look
long legs, baby.
I think if you start to
you
look,
didn't see her running through that.
If you start to look into this movie
start
to look into this movie too carefully, you're like, oh wait, how did this? I don't know. I think if you want to have a fun time, this movie is goofy, both intentionally and unintentionally. I don't know. I still think I think I give Black Panther 2.5 fingers. I think I'm gonna give this 2 fingers just because it's just under that middle of the road rating. But it's still I didn't fucking hate this movie. And a lot of movies I don't like. And
I came out of this movie.
I had a decent time at this movie.
I had a pretty positive.
Whether it was.
I had a pretty positive. Yeah. I had a pretty positive reaction to this movie.
Right.
I mean, are we doing fingers?
Yeah. No. This is my fingers. I'm gonna give it 2 fingers.
Go to town if you got something to say.
That was my review. That was my piece.
Okay. I'm giving it 3.5.
3.5.
How do I do that? Like this? I'm double jointed, so I can do this.
I can't even give a 3.5 with my fingers. I'm gonna go check on
so I'm gonna do 3.5.
You might want to towel down that carpet.
After this episode.
You guys. I was gonna give it 4, but you guys got me down
We
to
talked
3.5.
you down. We convinced you.
Yeah. You guys are terrible.
Walked you back from that ledge.
Yeah. So what was yours again?
So I haven't given mine yet. So
Okay.
Did you have anything else?
I don't want to
say
speak too
about
soon, but I
the
feel like the hiccups might be
Well,
gone. Let's see.
Yeah, it's because
This is like our final reviews.
Well, my big thing was that there is doubling in terms of the writing, like script writing. Like the script writing is actually really good. I just didn't. I feel like it was directed pretty poorly.
I can agree with that.
And the casting was.
He had to direct it twice though.
I know. That's exactly. I mean, he's working on halftime, right? So, but the casting was.
They got 2 movies for the price of one.
No. I agree with both of you.
Oh no.
No, it's all good.
Yeah, it's gonna be fine.
Yeah, it's gonna
Go,
be fine.
keep going.
Everything's gonna be okay.
But the casting, I agree. Like, I feel like the casting, I had casting issues out the door. Mm-hmm. Like when I left, I was like, okay. Like as much as I like Tom Hardy, I think you can start with Tom Hardy, like, yeah,
because he's got that like big, like, hot, hunky guy. He's like a fucking beefcake build, you know?
No,
like,
he
you need someone wiry and nerdy, and
well, he can do anything.
Maybe not as nerdy as Topher Grace.
Under the right,
a medium in between there.
Under the right director, Tom Hardy's great. You know,
he's great in a lot of things. I just think physically he doesn't have the physicality that I personally want for a Venom
Eddie
character.
Brock is supposed to be a no, you know, he's not supposed to be a big guy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's supposed to be, I mean, but you go into it with your predilections of Tom Hardy, and you already have like
he's a hunk.
Well, no, you already have perhaps he's wondering why I'd shoot a man before jumping out of a plane. Mm-hmm. You know, like you have that fucking badass villain character.
We have an idea of like his face being obscured.
he's already that, and he's already in Inception. You know, he's already in so much. You know, as a great supporting character.
Dunkirk, Mad Max.
Yeah. Oh, and
Mad Max,
Fall Off.
He's always got like something in front of his face.
He doesn't like his mouth.
Right, yeah. Right. He doesn't like showing his mouth.
He's the pilot. He's the pilot that lands the plane without fuel in Dunkirk. You know, he's the unsung hero. He's not the hero. Mm-hmm. So maybe this is perfect for him in a way, and get me here, right? Because he's a hack journalist in the beginning, right? That rips off his fiance, which sucks. But at the end of the day, his fiance becomes Venom too. They're both Venom.
And they get to make out.
They do.
And she's got gigantic boobs.
She's got those big ass titties.
She got those big Venom titties.
So everything that happens is sort of, in terms of story writing, you know, it's like, yeah, okay. So he has his own show. He falls from grace. Mm-hmm. Gets fired from
Topher.
The network is more important, right? The network is more important than your, you know, with Kasdan. Mm-hmm. Who is it?
Carlton Drake.
Lawrence
Kasdan.
Lawrence Kasdan. Shout out to Lawrence Kasdan for writing Han Solo. Okay.
You fucked it up, bro.
Yeah. No. I fucked it up. He's good. No, but like
he fucked it up writing Solo.
I thought Solo was pretty dope.
Oh,
I thought Solo was pretty dope. No, I thought Solo was pretty dope. Come on. You want me to?
Hold on, we gotta,
I don't want to get into
We
that.
gotta
start getting out of this
go.
episode. Let me get my review in here real quick, and then
right.
we'll bounce out of here. We're almost at 2 hours.
Are we?
Yeah,
Man,
hour
we got a lot
48.
here.
I thought this movie was pretty ridiculous, but not as ridiculous as I wanted it to be. I wanted this to be a bad movie, at least, because I didn't think it was going to be good. 3.5.
I'm at a 3.
You're at a 3?
You want to go to a 3?
You want to change?
Oh, for Solo.
No, I'm at a 3.
For Solo.
No, I'm at a. Sorry, I'm at a 3.5.
You gave it a 3.5.
3.5.
You want to stick with 3.5?
3.5.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
We can change it if you want.
No, I'm at a 3.5.
We've had
This-
people change.
People have changed drastically.
From
No, I'm
5
good.
to...
Podcast.
No, I feel good.
No. From 3.5 to 5. Yeah.
No, I feel good. I feel good at 3.5.
Stick with your guns, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a boring movie by any means, but it's not as like bad or ridiculous as I wanted it to be, and it's not as good or well-rounded as I wanted it to be.
Right.
Like I've said before, I think there is a kernel of an idea to this movie, and I think it starts when the movie's like 20 minutes from being over. Venom has that loser line, because I just think there's nothing relatable about this movie. There's nothing compelling for me really watching it. You're kind of just like watching this ridiculous thing play out on screen for most of it. And again, like the villain's not relatable, and it's not the worst looking movie I've ever seen, but it is a little bit visually blah. You know, like it doesn't look totally drab, but it doesn't excite me really in any way. And it is kind of like you're saying, like Transformers, like rather than, you know, the fucking like thing Autobots turning into whatever, it's Venom's goo like going all over the place and combining with Riot, and
It's a gross movie.
And it's totally misguided because it's got this like dark tone for some of it, and
There's 2 seconds. There's 2 seconds where it looks good, and it's when... sorry, I don't want to
No, go for
interfere. I know it's... okay. When you can kind of see Riz Ahmed and...
Riot.
Tom Hardy kind of inside of
between
the
their-
bodies of
Yeah,
them.
no,
and
they all
and
they
I
all
think that looks
combine.
poetic.
No, that's crazy. That's shit I've never seen
and
before.
that's 2 seconds,
It's
and the
4
rest
characters
right,
combining.
right. Mm-hmm. But
That's a crazy fucking concept.
That's 2 seconds in a part of a very long fight. You know,
Yes,
Other
but
way around,
that's
other way
that's
around.
worth a second watch.
this way.
that way.
Okay, I've never
Yeah,
had
just-
a jewel before.
Yeah, just rip it. Just suck on it.
Hey, YouTube,
Rip that jewel,
get a
bro.
load of this.
Yo,
What's
call
up,
the cops.
YouTube?
Call 911. This bro.
about to
Feel good dough.
Yo, I'm about to call the cops right now.
911. Hi, my friend's ripping a jewel right now.
I'm gonna give this 1.5 fingers. It
Wow.
could have been much worse. I wasn't.
Man, that pulls so easily.
Mike's not a fan. Mike is not a fan at all.
Guys, I've
we
never
did not.
pulled a
We
jewel
did
before.
not
That
sell
was,
him.
That was smooth as fuck.
We did not sell him at all.
Sticking to my guns on this. Yeah, I didn't enjoy this movie.
Out of
As
how
much-
many
rating?
fingers?
1.5 fingers.
Oh,
Out of how many?
that's
5.
that's a half finger below
Okay.
me.
Well, that's like the same as Hook, comparatively.
Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, that's like
No, Hook is a 5-finger movie. God damn it!
You fucking.
All right, so
No.
All,
I
all
mean-
that's gonna come to 2.3 repeating. We round down, so that's gonna come to 2 fingers for Venom here on the podcast
Okay.
officially. So
All right.
that 3.5 that helped us keep it up there. At
I'm-
2.
I'm-
could have been much lower.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm
it could have been
happy.
much lower.
I'm very happy with my 3.5
It's
fingers.
better than 30% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I will.
It's very
I will,
true. We have a better review. Than
I will.
Rotten
I will
Tomatoes,
stand.
yeah.
I will stand by my 3.5 fingers. I'm coming off fresh. Last night, saw it with a bunch of people. A lot of laughs. A lot of positive. Response.
Positive vibes.
Positive vibes, bro.
No, it was. It was.
if you agree-
I
I mean,
just gotta say.
that's the audience.
I mean,
the audience is
that's my
fucking-
experience. That's my experience of seeing it, and it was a good experience.
I would put it like this. I don't think you should go see this in theaters if you haven't seen this yet.
no, just wait
because
for it. No, just wait for it to be on
I think
digital.
this is a fine
Like,
movie to watch on
Yeah.
Netflix or Hulu or whatever, or the Disney, wherever the fuck it shows up. But I was mad that this movie made 80 million because I don't
It's
think this,
crazy
it's
that
not
this
a
movie
it's
made
not a
80
well-made movie. It may
Yeah.
be entertaining in the end, but I think we need to be holding.
It's
when
cut
we, when
the
we have
check.
when we have shit like Infinity War coming out, we need to hold these movies to a higher standard because clearly
Mike, you don't fucking understand the audience of this movie. The audience gave this score.
Mike, you're fine.
13-year-old 9/11 baby jewel smoker.
Mike, you're fine. Mike, you're fine. Are you
9/11? What the hell is that, bro?
Are you reusing my joke?
Never heard of him.
Fucking even heard of 9/11's kind of.
Oh my god!
Audience score is 88%. Listen, and
Is it 88 or is it at 80?
It's at 88%.
That's
I don't think we understand audiences, honestly.
Oh, maybe
I
we
think-
are out of touch. I don't know.
think it's crazy. It's fucking like I don't like this movie, but it's at 88%
because you're
crazy.
Because you're
Right?
working off of
There was like this weird thing when the trailer came out. I saw so many people sharing the trailer. Like it was like news when
Yes.
the trailer
well, a
came out.
sucky
exactly.
trailer.
But they weren't sharing it being like, I'm excited for this movie. Everyone I saw who shared it was like, I don't know, looks kind of iffy, but I'll probably go see it.
Honestly,
Where I feel like a ton of people went to see this movie and maybe they had an all right time watching it. I don't think this movie lived up to anyone's expectations of what they wanted.
yeah.
of
Well,
there was no expectations.
for a Venom movie, I think there is. Like, there's built-in expectations because of
what are the expectations though?
well,
because of how beloved
it's-
Venom is as a villain,
yeah,
as a Spider-Man
well,
character.
Venom's a favored like Spider-Man
Yeah,
villain.
well, I'll tell you what. Like,
Tell me what.
in terms of like the transformation into Venom when he finally did it.
Mm-hmm.
They waited a long time to do it, but when they finally did it, they put it in the trailer. Right, the initial trailer was "I am Venom." Right, and they did it, but they followed up on it. The only thing they didn't follow up on was the rest of the cast.
See,
The other thing they didn't follow up on was the beginning of the film, like that whole like spaceship.
that counts.
Yeah, the spaceship shit. Yeah, the beginning, like that was
part of the movie, too.
Yeah, that sucked. Yeah,
like
but
my only
let's let
my
it-
only communication with the outside world is that I saw a ton of people on my Facebook feed that were kind of just like, okay, this is like an embarrassing like thing, but like when people say SMH, which is just it stands for shaking my head. I pronounce it as like I go in my head I go,
You're a beautiful person,
yeah.
Joseph.
In my head I go smeh. Like but
Smeh.
like because it's usually like shaking my head.
Yeah.
You know what? Venom was actually a good movie, but in my head I would
It's not-
I would always read it as smeh. You know, critics are wrong. Venom was a good movie. Smeh. But
It
like,
wasn't.
honestly-
It wasn't a bad
honestly,
movie. It wasn't a bad movie.
Yeah, no.
That's all I'm saying.
Your average viewer, aka people on my Facebook dashboard, were like, "Hey, I think this was actually a good movie, regardless of what critics say." And I think like maybe like like critics who see all these movies who are fucking jaded like us are like, hey,
Give it a second look.
this movie's not great.
Give it a second
But
look.
I think people who are like, I want to go see a Venom movie, and then they see this, they're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay,
Yeah, no, I see
yeah,
what
it
you're
looks
saying.
good.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm
If
saying.
you've got superhero fatigue, this is not the cure. It's every other superhero
Yes.
movie, but not as
That's-
good.
Yeah. You know what I'm thinking?
It's no better. It's no worse than any other ones.
Smeh.
Let's get the fuck out of this episode. Let's
So
get
we
some-
done?
Last
We
plug-
done?
Last
We
plugs.
done.
Last plugs. Where can we find Concourse? ConcoursePA.bandcamp.
concoursepa.bandcamp.com.
Check that out for some Bucks County emo.
So
post-emo
check that out for
vibes.
some dumbass odd reason. If you want to check that out, concoursepa.bandcamp.com. My name is John Schiavone.
Yeah, hell yeah.
My
Thanks for coming on, man. This was an awesome episode.
well, we're chilling the fuck out. Some people are hiccuping apparently.
I think it's gone. I think I'm good.
I think he's good.
Yeah.
And Joseph, I really appreciate it. This is what I live for. I fucking love it. And you guys are fucking knowledgeable as shit. I just gotta say, sorry about the swearing for the
swear
kids.
Oh no, we swear purely
for the
podcast.
kids.
it's fucking chill, bro.
This is my first time here. I hope it's not my last time. And
Definitely.
I love the format. I love the open forum discussion. You guys are the best. We really got down to it. And
thanks so much.
Love you guys.
If you agree or disagree with everything we said, just leave a comment below on YouTube Sound Club. We would love to hear what you thought about Venom as the audience. Tell us how wrong we are. And for us, everything else you can find at howmanyfingerspodcast.com. We'll see you next week for our review of Halloween with Joe Mano. And the week after that for our review of A Star is Born, which we're going to go record right now for your viewing and listening pleasure. See you guys next week.
Later.
Smeh.
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 Smeh.